A pleasure to follow the Noble Lord Cormac, whose amendment I have signed, and I think it is a very important amendment. It is about putting limits on what can be authorised and excluding rape, torture and murder. And quite honestly, it's astonishing that this even has to be debated. We really ought to be free of that sort of threat to ordinary people quite often. Now, the government says that amendments like these aren't necessary because of a complex legal web of proportionality in the Human Rights Act. But that argument might carry more weight if the government wasn't constantly fighting a culture of war against human rights lawyers. But you don't need to know that don't need to be a human rights lawyer to understand that rape, murder and torture are never justified, and so these restrictions have got to go on the face of the bill. And then, of course, there's the government's circular argument that we must not ban specific crimes from being authorised because then undercover agents will be tested by the criminals to prove themselves by doing prohibited acts. But the circularity of that argument is that if the Human Rights Act already prohibits it, then it can already be tested. So I would like that cleared up if possible. And finally, we have to think about the victims of these crimes, the survivors. Women have been raped by undercover police officers, and this bill would actually stop future victims from being able to get any compensation or legal redress for those crimes. So on others in this group, I've also signed the amendment in the name of Noble Lord Rosser, and of course I do support, well, I support all of them actually, but the amendment by Noble Lady Baroness de Souza and by the Noble Lady Baroness Massey of Darwin are also superb amendments, and I very much hope that we will come back to this at report stage. There is the extra element of the Noble Lord Cormac's amendment on not authorising children to be undercover agents, and we will revisit this, I hope, later this evening, and I'll say more about that then.